Welcome to Real Talk Fantasy Baseball. I am your host, Will Power. Before we start today's show, I would like to invite all our viewers and listeners to join our Real Talk Fantasy Baseball Fan League. This is a free league, no entry fee. So you to join, just write join in the comments so I can send you the link. Prizes available for the winner, the top winner. So now, on today's lineup, we are going over the 2025 Sleepers, Part 1. But first, for everyone watching and listening, thank you for joining us today and every Thursday during the regular season and making us your go-to fantasy baseball podcast. Our show is available on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. And as always, make sure you hit those like, subscribe, and follow buttons if you haven't already. Now, the last couple weeks, John and I have been going over the top 24 in ADP and our personal rankings. Today, I'm talking about sleepers, more specifically, sleepers you can find in the first 10 round. I have come up with 5 sleepers to target in the first 10 rounds. So going in order, according to ADP, my first sleeper is Ozzy Albies. Current ADP is 51. That's beginning of the 5th round. Pretty underwhelming stats in 2024, but he only played 99 games. 10 home runs, 52 runs, 53 RBI, 8 stolen bases. But I know the stats are underwhelming, but he was pretty banged up for majority of the season. He fractured his toe back on April 16th. And that's going to hinder everything from your swing, base running ability, stolen bases, basically everything, even fielding. It hurts for months. I actually had a broken toe in like August last year, and it was pretty painful just to even walk. So I know what he was going through. He didn't even attempt a stolen base until May 13th, and he was caught stealing. He had 3 attempts total in May, 1 in June, and in July he had 3 attempts before tragedy struck again. He collided with the Cardinals outfielder Michael Ciani while fielding a throwdown on an attempted stolen base from Ciani. Albies would then miss another 2 months with a fractured wrist. The broken toe definitely affected the power stroke and the speed on the base paths. Then the broken wrist most definitely affected his offense as a whole. But if we look back on his 2023 stats, dude batted .280 with 33 home runs, 96 runs, 109 RBI, and 13 stolen bases with an 849 OPS. And in 2022, it was a down season again because of injuries again, a broken left foot and a broken pinky. And same thing, it hinders the stolen bases, it hinders the swing, basically everything in his game. But if you look back at 2021, a little more close to what I think he could actually do this season, 30 home runs, 103 runs, 106 RBI, and 20 stolen bases with a 798 OPS. The dude's going into his age 28-year-old season. And if you've been watching this show for a while, you know that I am a big believer in man strength, which starts around 27 years old. And he didn't really get to enjoy his 27-year-old season, but now going into his 28-year-old season, I think we're actually going to see a lot of upside from Ozzy Albies. Injuries were all fractures, and that's actually a great sign. Shouldn't be any lingering issues, no ligament damage and no structural damage. So that was great. A healthy Albies to me looks like 25 to 30 home runs, double-digit stolen bases, 200 plus runs plus RBI, and around an 800 OPS, give or take. I see that as definitely more valuable than a 5th-round pick. ADP has him at 51. I see him more in the mid-20s range, so if I see him at the end of round 2 or the beginning of round 3, I'm definitely thinking about possibly picking up Ozzy Albies, especially because second base is just kind of a very weak position this year. And moving on to number 2, we have Marcell Ozuna. Current ADP is 59, which is at the end of the 5th round. And I understand Marcell Ozuna only has DH eligibility, but I do not care. This dude's a beast. Back-to-back seasons with elite production. 2023 finished with a 274 batting average, 40 bombs, 84 runs, 100 RBI, and a 904 OPS, which was good enough to finish 32nd in points and 20th in categories. 2024 ADP was 133, still pretty low. A lot of people didn't buy into what he did in 2023, but he surprised us all, almost replicating his 2023 season, except he was better in 2024. A 302 batting average, 39 home runs, 96 runs, 104 RBI, and a 924 OPS. That was good enough to finish 11th in points and 20th in categories. He has a career expected batting average of 287. The power has always been there. Great K rate for a power hitter. I wouldn't be surprised if Marcell Ozuna finishes in the top 15 again in 2025. Now, for my next sleeper, there's a guy going in the middle of the 6th round that's an easy comp to the 5th overall pick in this year's draft, Elly De La Cruz. And this sleeper is Oneil Cruz. His current ADP is 66. Elly is currently being drafted number 5 overall. So this is a complete 5 rounds later. Elly De La Cruz hits the ball super hard. 91.8 average exit velocity, 114.7 max exit velocity. But you know who else hits the ball super hard? Oneil Cruz. Average exit velocity, 95.5 miles per hour. There are only 2 players that hit the ball harder than Oneil Cruz on average. That's Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani. Elly De La Cruz was 29th in terms of exit velocities. So he hits the ball really hard, but 95 on average, that's just incredible. O'Neill's swing is faster. He hits the ball harder. He hits the ball farther, barrels up the ball more often. There's one thing that Elly De La Cruz does better than Oneil Cruz, and he is one of the fastest runners in Major League Baseball. I believe he is actually 3rd in terms of sprint speed. And what I got to say about Elly De La Cruz is...
I mean, he's so fast. He makes fast people look not fast.
He's so fast. He makes fast people look not fast. And honestly, if I can get a slightly slower, stronger version of Elly De La Cruz in the 6th round, sign me up. And number 4, I am moving on to our first baseman, Christian Walker. And I think most people are buying into the value that Christian Walker can bring to the fantasy team. Walker was a little banged up last season, only played 130 games, but he was a top producer at the first base spot since 2019. 29 home runs, 26 doubles, 259 batting average, and an 824 OPS. In 2021, Walker dealt with an oblique injury that had him sidelined for about a third of the season. But 2022 and 2023 were pretty good. 2022, he batted 242 with 36 home runs and an 804 OPS. And in 2023, he batted 258 with 33 home runs and an 830 OPS. 2024 looked mostly the same, just on a smaller scale because Walker missed some time with an oblique strain again. But still, he batted 251 with 26 home runs and 803 OPS. And he was heading into free agency. I was super high on Christian Walker going into 2024, not knowing that he was going to get injured, of course. Now heading into 2025, I think I'm even higher on Christian Walker this year than I was last year, because just a couple months ago, Christian Walker signed a 3-year deal with the Houston Astros, which is a decent park upgrade from his previous Chase Field. So 2024 right-handed hitters in Chase Field, there were 94 total home runs. At Minute Maid Park, his new park, there was 105. So not that much more than was hit in Chase Field, but it is something. Christian Walker's swing, I think, is built for a Minute Maid Park. He hits a ton of fly balls to the pull side, which is the number one way to hit home runs in Minute Maid Park. With the Crawford boxes, the same way that Alex Bregman hit a ton of home runs earlier on in his career. So going forward, 2025, I'm predicting about 35 to 40 home runs for Christian Walker in 2025 with 90 plus runs, 100 plus RBI, hitting behind guys like Jose Altuve, their new third baseman, Isaac Paredes, and power hitter Yordan Alvarez. And with Yainer Diaz in the 5-hole right behind Walker, lots of opportunities for a lot of runs and RBI. And the last name, moving on to the last name on my list, I have Jordan Westburg. Current ADP is 107. Westburg was on his way to a breakout season in 2024, and he was hit by a pitch in July, sidelined up until September 22nd. Before the injury, Westburg was batting 271 with 18 home runs, 25 doubles, and an 814 OPS. 2025 could be a huge breakout season for Westburg, and by the 7th round, I will be actively trying to draft Westburg, maybe even before that, because I really don't want anyone to get Westburg ahead of me. Looking at his current ADP, I'm going to be passing on guys earlier in ADP like Spencer Steer, Mike Trout, Mark Vientos, and Vinny Pasquantino. I know Mark Vientos had a great season last year, and Vinny Pasquantino has the pedigree. Everyone thinks he's going to break out basically anytime. And then Mike Trout, a healthy Mike Trout is a dangerous Mike Trout, but the dude just can't stay healthy. And Spencer Steer, with the Reds adding Gavin Lux to their lineup, I think it's going to be Spencer Steer that's going to be losing a little bit of his at bats, in place of Gavin Lux. Gavin Lux can basically play all outfield positions, second base and shortstop. And with the crowded infield they have in Cincinnati, Spencer Steer was playing the outfield a little bit last year, kind of bouncing all over the place, and it looks like him and Gavin Lux are going to be platooning a lot of different spots. So that's all the time we actually have for today. So I hope you enjoyed today's content. Be sure to hit that like, subscribe, and follow buttons, and we'll see you guys next week. Thanks a lot. Peace.